Hey everyone, just a quick announcement for those unaware. We've got an official High Night comic coming out soon. Remind me to tell you later. Encanto. This comic will feature a younger Mary back in the Philippines, encountering a terrifying, yet affectionate Encanto in the woods. It will be part of a 100-page Filipino horror comic anthology, the Pinoy Monster Horror Anthology, which you can now find on Kickstarter. The project launches officially on October 1, so please follow the page and stay tuned for the official launch this Halloween season. Support the project if you love Filipino monsters, terrifying body horror, mysterious supernatural horror, dark queer romance, and the unique cultural horror created by multiple different Filipino artists. Link is in the description below, but you can also find it by Googling Pinoy Monster Horror Anthology. Go on to the Kickstarter page and hit Notify Me on launch. We've only got 30 days to hit our goal, so we appreciate all the support. Maraming salamat. Thank you. We'd like to give a special shout out to the following people for making this episode and the rest of Act 3 possible. Louis, Malaya, Reg, Daniel Athern, Osterkim, Vanna, Finch, Dr. Dan Venning, Sleepless Berry, Court, Rogue Canoe, John and Muna, Sadie, Zay the Great, Elliot Kane, and Trident. Thank you for your support. Maraming salamat. You're listening to Hainai by Motsi Dapul. Episode 68. Silipin. Hainai. I wish I could ask you if you knew. If you knew what I was. If you knew that I was a little big one, or whatever I am that made the mother wolf think of them when she smelled me. You always knew I had too much power. You always knew that there was something dangerous, though. I don't know if it was about me or around me. No matter how much you kept from me, I always trusted your judgment. And even now, I don't want to violate your rules, because the last time I did. What will happen if I stop wearing the ending? If I stop wearing the ling-ling-o? I don't know. I guess I don't want to know. I just wish you'd tell me. I just wish you'd wake up and give me all the answers and tell me what to do, because you knew everything. You always knew what to do. Or maybe you were just as lost as I am. Maybe you didn't really know what I was, only how to keep me safe. But if you woke up now, at least I'd know. Hi, Nye. So, I got worried when Vanessa mentioned that Richard Henry might be a problem, especially after what happened with the old man. He wasn't exactly in the best mental state the last time I saw him, so I asked to meet again, and said I wanted to check on our friendly neighborhood living dead man. I guess I shouldn't have worried that much. Or maybe I should have worried more. Hard to say. I guess I don't need to worry that much about him escaping now, because he's ahead. Which makes sense now that I think about it, but it was kind of a shock to come back to where he was being kept and finding a few major parts missing. They weren't gone, mind you. The old man just decided they needed separate storage in case someone found the place. Which makes sense. He also tried to explain to me how the body worked. I mean, I know he doesn't have the most in-depth grasp of modern technology, though he can get by in a pinch and apparently knows how to text. But the way he described it to me matched right up with hardware and software. The benefactor apparently kept the software, but traded in most of the hardware, which explains how Donner found Richard Henry's body all the way underground, sans head. From what I understand, he adapted the magic of the puppet master, as well as biological and mechanical parts, to make Richard Henry a perfect vessel. Flesh, bone, blood, said the old man. The soul had to be compatible, but the original head was enough to house it. Souls won't stay in a body not their own, but the entire body isn't required. The head was enough, and it lasted Richard Henry decades. The hard drive, the software. More than the head, and apparently there was a risk Richard Henry would gain more power over time, maybe break the illusion. I mean, it seems like he already had been when we finally met, but the old man said he'd never seen it happen, but it was a theory proposed by the puppet master a long time ago. Never tested because none of their human puppets lasted long enough to wrest control back from their masters. The rest of Richard Henry, the benefactor hid away, in case he needed the rest of him later, or to make sure nobody else found him. His real body remained undiscovered until Donner, really living up to the detective part of Supernatural Detective. When I came to check on him, Richard Henry lamented that he couldn't play the piano in this state. Assured me he was fantastic at it, which I don't know why, but I fully believed. I didn't really know what to expect when I started talking to him. He seemed unbothered for a man who had no body. Then he asked if I'd met him, the benefactor. I didn't know if I should say, but my hesitation all but confirmed it for him. So he asked me if we had spoken at length, if he was still my enemy, or if I'd made an ally of him. There was something in his voice, underneath the bravado. Was he afraid to hear my answer? I responded truthfully this time. We weren't enemies, but we weren't allies. You asked me a question before, he said, and it didn't take me long to remember what that was. May I tell you a story? You're the only company I have now. Master Savard's not much of a talker. Even after everything he did, I couldn't imagine the loneliness. Whether he deserved it or not, I didn't think listening to him talk would do me much harm, so I agreed. He told me a story about a young man. Ambitious, hopeful, intelligent. Come from nothing. Though Nothing wasn't quite the right word. He didn't come from nothing, but he did come from shit. At least, that's what he called it when they'd gotten drunk together sometimes. It was a life he was eager to get away from, and one Richard Henry was eager to help him escape. A life of obscurity. An ordinary, desperate, cruel life of poverty that might have kept the diamond buried in the rough. The young man was his subordinate before they both came to serve Savard. Richard Henry invested in the young man that he knew had potential, before he even realized how much that potential would flourish in Savard's magical project. He knew the young man was brilliant, knew he was driven, knew he was ambitious, and wouldn't waste the opportunity. So he gave him expensive clothes, new shoes, even the fine cufflinks that would be his signature. Richard Henry believed he could succeed, or he wanted him to. Knew that he could, if he was just given the chance. Knew more than that, even. Knew him better than anyone. A statement I'd heard before from Marianne Weeks. I asked if he knew Jack Robin. A look of annoyance crossed his face, though there seemed to be an unwilling fondness there, too. "Who have you been speaking to, I wonder?" he said. And I said someone told me Jack Robin knew the benefactor better than anyone. "Two things can be true at once," said Richard Henry, closing his eyes in pensive thought. Jack Robin would have been the one he trusted most. I simply handled matters for him that he did not need to concern himself with. "You said you betrayed him because he didn't live up to your expectations," I said. "Because he didn't live up to his potential. There's a difference," he said. "Maybe you didn't know him as well as you thought," I said. He closed his eyes, silent for a while, before he began to tell me a story. It was a long time ago, before Savard left the Ordo, but long enough for there to have been advancements in their magic. Spells learned, best practices built, a failed experiment or two. Richard Henry had found the young man working through the night on more than one occasion, feverishly chasing some lead on magic of memory, of the soul. It was the soul that gave him the most frustration. The soul had been so central to his research, but it was too rigid. Untouchable power. A concept a true elder could not accept. Richard Henry didn't resent him his mission, but he'd taken far too much cocaine for his liking and needed to be broken out of the stupor. So he told him they had an important task to complete for Master Savard, and forced him out of the Ordo's beautiful, yet sunless offices. He was a member of the Ordo, same as the rest, so he didn't have to follow Richard Henry's direction. But he was a loyal one, and knew that his erstwhile superior had never led him astray, so he followed without question, and seemed surprised to find himself at Sunnyside by the water, on a day the beaches weren't so crowded with people. He asked if they were meeting someone there, and seemed surprised when Richard Henry pulled out 2 bottles of expensive liquor and said they could enjoy it by the water. "In the silence of this room," he said, "I can still hear the sound of the waves." I asked him what they talked about that day, and he said they talked about his birthday, the young man's. It didn't occur to me, but it made sense that the benefactor had a birthday. But when I said so, Richard Henry seemed to want to shake his head, but remembered he no longer had a neck, and instead said no. He didn't have a birthday. Not at first. Richard Henry knew this. Knew that his birth record hadn't been kept properly by his parents. That he only knew the month, not the day. He asked the young man then, on that beach, in the warm sun and the cool breeze, if this was a good day for it. A celebration. His birthday. They could make a tradition out of it, and they did. Even if it was only for a few years. That was what he thought about when he was truly alone. I asked him why. After his betrayal. After everything. And he said again, 2 things can be true at once. And I understood what he meant. Before I left, he asked me to take care of him. I told him he had no right to ask that of me, but he thought someone should. "He has nobody left," said Richard Henry. "And you said he wasn't your enemy." And I left him, feeling more confused than when I'd found him. "I know you didn't want to let him out, and you didn't want to lend him Tatay's balisong, but he's been making good use of it. Saved lives, like he wanted him to. Though he doesn't do it for them. He does it to please you. But whatever gets the job done, right? No matter his sins, you know he won't betray you. And you know he will kill who you ask. He's loyal to you, and only you. Now she's still mocking, of course. Mocking him, mocking you. But you can tell that she's jealous. Jealous of his freedom. Jealous that you took him up on his offer. To fight for you. To die for you. Again and again. He hasn't died again yet, but he'd be happy to do it. Martyrdom would make him elated. At some point, she might make you an offer, if only to be free. even if it meant being under your power. Even if it meant being leashed to you and your will. But for now, she won't. But it's a very compelling fairy tale. A reluctant queen, her dashing yet bloodthirsty knight, and a princess that might one day take up the sword to fight like the knight does. She does so love a good fairy tale. But for now, you let her throw her tantrum. All you need to focus on is that he does his job. And he does it well, now that he has your orders. He even burns the horrors exactly the way you instructed, setting the slimy, smiley head aflame, so that the nightmare doesn't return. He holds the balisong close to his heart, like a precious thing, and thanks you for trusting him, even if you don't. After all, a killer is a killer is a killer. But you have made good use of him. Made him a protector. What he always wanted. You know as well as I do that this is not the last time you will send him out. And this is not the last time he will serve you with the fervor of a zealot. Your avenging angel. You made the right choice, my waking self. Don't doubt that you did. Because with all the enemies coming your way, you need all the help you can get.
You're listening to Hainay by Motsi Dapul.
Hey everyone, this is Motsi, creator of the Hainay podcast. Hainay is a podcast produced by myself, Yoy Halago, and Alyssa Jimenez, and co-created by Reg Helly, and licensed under Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike 4.0 International License. This episode was co-produced by Jessie Goodsell, and written and directed by Motsi Dapul, who also plays the role of Mary Datuin. Special thanks to Edward McKee for assisting in the writing process. If you'd like to chat with other listeners when episodes go live, we do a live premiere 3 times a month, on Sundays at 9 p.m. EST or Toronto time, on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/HainayPod. To help support the production of Hainay, you can subscribe to our Patreon, patreon.com/HainayPod. You'll get to listen to episodes ad-free and get to be part of our early access program, where episodes are released 3 days early on Thursday at 9 p.m. EST or Toronto time. You can also get bonus audio, art, video, and much more. Speaking of Patreon, we'd love to give a shout out to the following patrons for all their amazing support. Emily C., Lauren Morton, Prinks Variety, Kathy S., Didi Chanak, Johnny Demented, Maya B., Chandra, Adge W., Tony Baloney, Nay, Poyo, Phoenix Luna, Kate Jordan, Tiana Harvey, Dracucard, Sabine, Ben, Sean, Josh the Alchemist, Jess Snow, Maddie Remigio, Talon, Nanette Dapul, Mika, Matthew Upton, Anna, Sooks, Becca Terrier, Amelia Brownstein, Diana Cause, Melissa, Emma H., Faye Fungi, Pablo Neurotic, Astra Kim, Evie Smith, Megan, Jessie Goodsell, Malaya Light, and Victoria Goodwin. If you can't subscribe monthly, you also have the option to buy us some milk tea on Ko-fi, ko-fi.com/HainayPod, HINAYPOD. You can even buy ad-free episodes over there if you purchase our Hainay album, which has the ad-free, credits-free version of our episodes from Act 1 and 2. You also get this album for free as a patron. Check out our website, hainaypod.com, for more news and updates. And don't forget to follow us on all socials, on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Facebook, and now Blue Sky. Hainay is available on Acast and wherever you listen to podcasts. We hope you enjoy our Act 3 episodes. And as always, thank you, we love you, and hanggang sa muli.